People keep asking for longer videos, so let me make it clear to start off. I wish I could, but I simply do not have the time for it. Obviously, the folks that have stuck around for these last several months understand completely. But to reiterate for newcomers, if I had the time to do them, I definitely rock hour-long episodes. Also remember to check the description for my Discord link. Keep it polite and friendly, and most importantly, make sure not to spoil anything on my video release days. Finally, Christmas quickly approaches. Just as with Thanksgiving earlier this year, I'm looking to take a week off around that time. It'll be the last week of December, the 25th and the 29th, that there won't be any episodes. Consistency is king for new creators like myself, but I'm not going to compromise family time for it. Where were we last time? Chaos! Right. Well, today we're looking entirely at Team 8. Let the hijinks commence. Team 8 is wandering through the forest. It's been a few hours since Phase 2 began, and they've luckily found no one impeding them so quickly. Tenten wants to find cover so they can formulate strategies and unify their goals. Hinata thinks they're not being cautious enough about their surroundings. Naruto just wants to leap into action right away. But seeing how he's outvoted, he decides to let Tenten's plan win. He was stubborn enough to start out, but he's been so antsy to see action that maybe playing it safe will lure enemies in. Once they find a hiding spot in the nook of a tree, they turn to strategizing. First things first, they need to decide who's going to be the permanent holder of their Heaven Scroll. Tenten has great offense, but not a lot of chakra. Hinata has great chakra, but not a lot of defense. But Naruto has phenomenal chakra and a well-balanced defense and offense. He's their safest bet. Tenten personally thinks she could actually beat him in an honest fight. He's pretty tough, but she thinks she might be able to whittle him down. After the scroll's been passed to Naruto, they decide next on how they want to approach an enemy team. Tenten wants to lay traps and wait for a team to come by and spring them, like a Venus flytrap. Hinata points out that the forest is huge. They can't just lay traps in one small area and expect a random team to come along. Naruto thinks they should just choose a direction and just go for it. We could even get a brief inner monologue from Naruto here that he's just not interested in planning. Hinata thinks they should rely on her Byakugan for scouting out threats and even looking for a Hell Scroll. Naruto could do some sensing himself, but seeing how he never practices it, neither of the girls have too much confidence in it. And unlike Hinata's very precise, visually based Byakugan, Naruto's is just a feeling. If you're confused about this, I made the Namikaze clan Sensor Ninja as well, something that Naruto's clearly inherited. But I haven't touched on this since the start of the rewrite, so maybe some have forgotten about it. For so many reasons, they're going with Hinata as the choice Sensor Ninja. Naruto thinks that if they wait too long, all the Hell Scrolls will be snatched up, as if he has any idea what he's talking about. They were given no information on what Hell Scrolls were or how they worked. Tenten also says that there should be more than enough to go around, according to their instructions at the start at least. Naruto warns if any teams should take more than just one. Hinata asks why would this even happen, and Naruto hints at some dark, nefarious purposes. Rolling her eyes at the suggestion, Tenten tells him they may as well be labeled rocks for all the nefarious deeds you could do with those. Nodding, Naruto makes a motion like a club, something you could do with a rock. Sighing now, Tenten thinks they should cautiously search for a Hell Scroll. It would be slow, but then they could at least be on guard for incoming ninja. Hinata agrees, since they have 5 whole days to reach the center tower anyway. They might as well take their time for now. When Naruto can't think of any further reasons to argue, he shrugs and agrees to the plan. Though they didn't discuss their formation, Naruto takes the lead. He volunteers for it, but when Tenten tries to suggest Hinata for the role, he just marches ahead of them anyway. Exhausted already by his childish behavior, Tenten shrugs and just lets him lead. Hinata is in the middle of the group. Here, she can at least be protected and commit her focus to viewing their surroundings. Tenten is in the back because so far she's proven to be the most reliable of the 3. She even jokes that if Naruto was in the back, he'd probably run away without telling them. or he'd get distracted by a weirdly shaped mushroom. Naruto's face scrunches in disappointment as they walk. However, he's too busy acting tough right now to give Tenten reproach. The whole day passes without incident, bad or good. When night falls, Naruto immediately sets to work making a fire. Tenten kicks his setup away and forbids any fire starting. She tells him that night is when things become most dangerous. Before darkness falls, they need to first find the best natural cover possible. If they end up digging holes in the ground, it would stick out like a sore thumb. Naruto tries in this moment to maintain his faux leadership position. He tells the group that they will do as Tenten asks, despite everyone already agreeing to it. He also tells them that he'll keep watch while they sleep. At least that way they'll not be completely defenseless. Tenten agrees that it's a good idea. However, she tells Naruto that they'll take it in shifts. Otherwise, Naruto will be more than exhausted by daybreak. Stubbornly, Naruto promises that he can handle it. There were no fights today. Why would he be too tired for such a feat? Most important is that Hinata gets her sleep so she can maximally refresh her eyes. Still, Tenten demands that they take turns. Even if he has a monster inside him, he's not invincible. As the words leave her mouth, Tenten realizes her mistake. She's never called him out for being a Jinchuriki, but she didn't mean anything rude by it. It's the truth. He doesn't have unlimited stamina. To her, as long as he's fighting for the team, it doesn't matter whether he's a Jinchuriki. Nevertheless, it offends Naruto. He tells Tenten that she's free to stay up with him to watch. Regardless, he'll be doing the full night no matter how much she protests. He completely ignores her apology and turns away from her. Tenten doesn't want a schism from within the group, so she lets him be offended and submits to his wishes. She whispers to Hinata that his stubbornness could cause them to drop out of the competition. By the time darkness falls, they've found a natural outcrop of stone to hide under. True to his word, Naruto stays up all night, and luckily no opponents descend upon them. He starts to think they were brought to an unpopulated part of the forest, but there were dozens of teams competing for this phase. Odd to not run into even one. When both girls wake up in the morning, Hinata whispers to Naruto that he needs to be more team-focused. Hinata repeats what Tenten has already said. Her words didn't mean anything. Naruto scoffs bitterly, asking Hinata when it was that she decided to take Tenten's side. Disappointed in his reaction, Hinata opts to not talk to him for a while. Striking out on now day 2 of their test, they mostly follow in the same method they were using on day 1. Tenten tries to tell Naruto that with shorter time comes greater urgency. They need to change up their strategy and quicken their pace. With team communication out the window, Tenten tries to share any updates or ideas she has. Hinata gives her sympathetic shrugs, and Naruto mutely marches ahead. As the tail guard and scout, Tenten turns while walking so she can do a quick scan behind them. After this 2-second check, she turns forward again only for Hinata to be gone. Just gone. Not a sound was made by whatever or whoever plucked her from the spot. Calling to Naruto, Tenten shouts that Hinata's gone. Stubbornness dissolving, Naruto whips around and sees the proof. His eyes widen with surprise. He thought he would have heard her get taken away at the proximity they were to each other. They want to call for her, but they also don't want to give away their position. Tenten tells Naruto they need to search in concentric circles to make sure to not be further than arm's lengths away as well. Naruto tries sensing her presence, but he feels chakra all around him, as if the trees were made of it. Whoever their enemy is, they've spotted and removed the team's better sensor ninja first. They're now searching blind to be outnumbered by an enemy. Tenten and Naruto both notice that the air around feels thick, as if it's actually creating resistance. In certain areas, Tenten is sure that she's walking through invisible water for all its resistance. Naruto thinks that someone might be trying to pull a genjutsu down over their eyes. Tenten doubts it though, since genjutsu usually has an immediate effect. She's also happy that he's dismissed their personal squabble for the now far more important objective. Snaking between some trees ahead, a thick tendril of mist worms toward them. As it reaches them, it circles around until their surroundings are made into a gray opaque. Shaking his head, Naruto becomes annoyed at more mist-like jutsu that reminds him of their first mission. Tenten tries to walk toward Naruto, but he for some reason sprints into the mist and away from her. Alone now, Tenten raises her arms in disbelief. Why would he run away from her? Because Naruto's a total idiot, The team has now been singled out completely. Fingering a scroll, Tenten wonders what she should do in this situation. She is not good at dealing with genjutsu. She might as well be floating through space, as she can't see anything. She can't even hear anything, as if she were in a totally isolated part of the forest. It occurs to her that even Naruto seemed to be sprinting away soundlessly. There were no ground impacts from his feet at all. Suddenly emerging from the mist and in extreme proximity to Tenten, Lady Tsunade appears. Bewildered by the arrival of a Sannin, Tenten asks if she needs anything. Looking down at Tenten with cold eyes, Tsunade asks her why she made the choices she has. Further confused by this question, Tenten tries to insist that it was Naruto that ran away from her. Stepping closer still to Tenten, looming over the young girl, Tsunade hisses in disgust. She points out Tenten's terrible chakra control. If only she had it, she could have learned Tsunade's patented style of taijutsu. But instead, she's just another one of the no-name ninja in the village. She'll grow into a very normal, perhaps even underwhelming, adult ninja. Tenten would be lucky if she even made it to Chunin. Insulted, saddened, and desperate, Tenten asks her idol why she's saying such horrible things. Ignoring her plight, Tsunade steps yet closer and shakes her head dismissively. She tells Tenten that it was a waste of time for her to have become a ninja. She'll never amount to anything. She has no discernible skills. She comes from a useless family. She'll just end up a waste of resources for the village. Breathless and muted, Tenten can only look up at Lady Tsunade in silence. Her strength leaves her, and she crumples to the ground, morale shattered. Naruto turns to Tenten only to notice she's no longer there. Raising his arms in disbelief, Naruto barks some choice words of frustration. He decides that if everyone's going to abandon him, then he might as well just get to the end alone. Allowing his rising anger to control his choices, he sprints off into the mist. Tripping over a root of a tree, he stumbles. Straightening, he beholds Zabuza Momochi emerge from the mist. Frozen in shock at the missing nin, Naruto takes a step back. Catching the same root from before, he trips backward and falls to the ground. Without a single word, Zabuza unsheathes his mighty blade. Naruto feels a familiar fear ensorcel him. Bound by terror, Naruto feels a familiar chill. He hasn't felt this way since the first meeting he had with Zabuza. Like a cramp, his stomach convulses, and he feels a wrenching coming from within. The nine-tailed fox is raging against its reinforced prison. Drawing his blade back, Zabuza swings it. Flinching, Naruto accidentally bangs his head against a rock. This jostles his attention free from the paralyzing fear and gives just enough wherewithal for him to roll away as fast as he can. Trying to find his footing with shaking legs, Naruto stares up at the towering menace. This famous mist ninja even made Asuma Sensei struggle. Every time he stops moving, his fear multiplies. Every time his fear worsens, his stomach wrenches even worse than before. Naruto doesn't even have the strength to stand. The seal on the fox is working in overtime to keep the beast jailed. Zabuza lazily walks toward him, letting his sword drag on the ground. Finally opening his mouth, Zabuza lets out a long, drawn-out, cackling laughter. Even though his shock is worn off, Naruto feels a new rush of horror. The convulsing in his stomach worsens to a point that he's never felt before. If he knew this was the cost of the reinforced seal, he wasn't sure in this moment if he even wanted it. Unable to concentrate, Naruto can only crawl away from Zabuza, doubled over in pain now. Either now or later, Naruto is going to be killed by Zabuza. He wonders why he just keeps resisting. Every time he has these self-defeating thoughts, the beast within him rages even harder. It has built to such an intensity that Naruto can no longer move. His focus has somehow shifted from the immediate threat of Zabuza. Now, the whole of his attention is on the pain he's feeling in his stomach. Looking up one last time, Naruto sees Zabuza's sinister smile under the bandages one last time before blacking out. Awake in his mindscape, Naruto stands in a familiar water that's up to his ankles. In the vast distance, he can see the bars of the fox's prison. He doesn't want to go over there, but he feels a strange compulsion to. Vaguely looking around, he notices that it's not blackness behind him. Instead, there's a sheet of white blinding light. Curious, his compulsion fades and he steps instead into the light. Emerging on the light's other side, Naruto finds himself in a white, blinding canvas in all directions. There's not a single detail in sight, just white. But beside him, another stands. His father Minato crouches beside him, a hand on his shoulder and a warm smile. His shape is vague. Naruto can't even make out his dad's eyes, as if he were behind misted glass. A very quiet voice, with a feminine affect, whispers, "Fight, Naruto." Blinking, Naruto looks up at Zabuza, and a strange assurance falls over him. As his confidence becomes reinforced, Zabuza dissolves and the mist fades. Standing with renewed strength, Naruto furrows his brow in confusion. He looks down and rubs his now painless stomach. Screaming nearby draws his attention. When Tenten stops moving, Hinata looks to her for the reason why. Tenten suddenly shouts to Naruto that Hinata's gone. But Hinata's not gone. She chuckles a little bit and tries to reassure Tenten when Naruto also gasps that she's gone. Maybe they're seeing something she's not. Deactivating her Byakugan for a moment, Hinata beholds a wall of mist around them. They walked into a genjutsu and it was so vague that she didn't even detect it. Upon reactivating the Byakugan, Hinata realizes that there is certainly a faint chakra loitering in the air. When she tries to stop her teammates from moving on, they seem almost unstoppable. Even bear-hugging Tenten barely slows her down. It's as if the genjutsu has been augmented by some sort of ninjutsu. Suddenly, Naruto tries to run off and trips over a tree root. Despite the growing severity of their situation, Hinata finds an odd humor to see people caught in the genjutsu from the outside. Sparing just a moment to smile at the predicament, Hinata spins, disappointed in herself. She stopped paying attention to the surroundings and let a ninja team ambush from behind. With her allies otherwise distracted, she has no choice but to defend them and hope they break free from whatever's holding them. Descending from a hill, Naruto sees three men standing around a person tucked into a ball. As he comes closer, it becomes clear as day. It's Hinata, and she's not in a very good state. Her coat's been torn up, her ninja tools are scattered everywhere. Worst of all, she's lying in blood. Naruto's newfound clarity is keeping him from a reckless fury. Throwing shuriken from afar, Naruto leaps toward their trajectory. The three ninja leap away as shuriken fall where they were standing, and Naruto lands beside Hinata. She's not even conscious. He can feel the hairs on the back of his neck stand as adrenaline begins to pump through him. He's both angry and calm as he stands to face the three ninja on his own. Naruto recognizes them from Phase 1, Sound Ninja. These three are the older set that he had seen. Releasing all three of his scrolls from their pockets, Naruto unfurls them and tosses them to the ground at his feet. Looping his left index finger through a hole of a shuriken, Naruto grips it hard, feeling the pain of its other blades digging into his hand. But if he can't withstand such a minor injury, then he can't face up against three ninja at once. He hoped that his training given by Jiraiya and his father would come in handy here. Shortly before becoming a genin, Jiraiya tried showing him the basics of the Rasengan, but Naruto at the time could not grasp it. All he could remember in the moment was the first stage. Whenever he watched his father perform it, the Rasengan seemed so simple, but even its foundational information was more than confusing for him. Performing a few quick hand seals, Naruto takes a fighting stance and challenges the ninja to come at him. Laughing at the lone kid, all three men charge at him. Naruto finishes his jutsu as the first ninja comes within range. Flourishing his hands in an upward motion, Naruto forms a pool of wind on the ground that juts up like a rocket. Crossing over it, the first ninja is struck hard and hurled more than 20 feet into the air. The other two pause for a moment to watch their ally fly. Stamping on one of the three scrolls, Naruto conjures three explosive kunai that he throws at the airborne ninja. Forgetting his ally, Misumi reaches Naruto and locks down his right wrist. Suddenly, his arm unnaturally coils around Naruto's arm. The explosions of the three kunai striking the first ninja pull Misumi's eyes away for a second. Ignoring the explosion himself, Naruto with his shuriken hand stabs it into Misumi's coiling arm. Instead of pulling it out for another attempted stab, Naruto just pulls down and tries to make the cut bigger. In too much threat of great injury, Misumi pulls back and retreats slightly. Yoroi grabs Naruto from behind, grappling him into submission. Naruto feels his strength immediately start to wane, and with it, his serene state of mind. As his calm passes, it's replaced by the rage that he was previously lacking. He challenges Yoroi to take as much as he can while Naruto closes his eyes and concentrates as hard as he can. His father told him to use hand seals to make it easier to form the wind, but that still means it's possible to do so without hand seals. Caring not at all about form, and all about power, Naruto clenches his teeth and in a roar of anger, releases as much wind from his back as he can. This creates an unexpected force that not only detaches Yoroi from Naruto, but launches him several hundred feet into the wilderness. Stamping onto the second scroll, Naruto conjures an opaque packet. Catching it, he tears it open and pulls out a large marble-sized ball before popping it into his mouth. Food pills. It won't do much for Naruto's normally vast chakra pools, but anything extra against the last remaining Misumi is all he needs. His vision doubles and he feels a wave of exhaustion. Blinking fast, Naruto shakes the feeling and keeps his focus on the last injured Sound Ninja. Misumi has decided now against his weird tricks after watching Yoroi blast off at the speed of sound. Returning to the basics, he believes his best bet is to fight at range. Naruto tries focusing on the palm of his hand. Misumi watches carefully, but nothing happens. Despite flowing his chakra as much as he can into this one point, Naruto has not once taken his eyes off Misumi. It doesn't matter to Naruto who of them or why any of them would decide to pick on one lone ninja, but he would make it so that they wouldn't do that to anyone else in the forest. Dashing at Misumi, Naruto brandishes 3 kunai with paper tags. He throws them individually to the left, right, and above Misumi's head. In these choreographed slow stunts, Naruto has distracted Misumi from flight. Gripping Misumi's collar with his free hand, Naruto almost growls as he pushes his other hand into Misumi. He feels blood drip onto his hand as Misumi wheezes from the strike. He couldn't randomly conjure the Rasengan on demand, so he tried the Windblade Jutsu in a moment of desperation. Lucky for him, it worked at last. Stepping away from a fallen Misumi, Naruto pants and turns back to Hinata exhausted. He sees Yoroi for just an instant before the Sound Ninja's body collides with his. Raising his arms to guard, Yoroi bowls him over and stabs a kunai into Naruto's right shoulder. Yelping in pain, Naruto tries to push Yoroi off, but the latter is hyper-fixated on keeping the kunai as deep as possible. He mumbles to Naruto how he likes poison before twisting the blade to excruciating pain for Naruto. Drawing on his last remaining chakra and utilizing the only jutsu he knows without his familiar Hiden, Naruto conjures another blast of air in front of him. This time, it's just not enough to push Yoroi off, but it is enough to make him much lighter. Combining his chakra exertion with physical exertion, Naruto barely manages to break free from Yoroi. The poisoned kunai is still in his shoulder, and Naruto pulls it out and uses all his will to climb to his feet. As Yoroi rolls away, Naruto lunges at him with the poisoned kunai. Though Yoroi evades most of the blow, he's still nicked by the blade. This is enough to make him flee immediately, cursing at the cut. Carelessly discarding the poisoned kunai, Naruto forgets everything else. Turning, he stumbles to Hinata's side. Rolling her over, he does a preliminary check for her injuries. She's still very much alive, but she's covered in bruises and cuts, minor and severe. They were torturing her. Checking his pack for bandages, Naruto notices a second scroll. When he pulls it out, he realizes it's a hell scroll. But where did it come from? After doing preliminary first aid on Hinata, Naruto returns to the 2 fallen Sound Ninja and searches them for a scroll. Smiling vaguely, Naruto pockets their third and final Earth Scroll. Picking up Hinata and carrying her on his back, Naruto departs in search of Tenten. After searching for some 30 minutes, Naruto finally comes across Tenten. She's sitting on the ground, head down, shaking it repeatedly, and chanting, "No, no, no." Jostling her, Naruto falls to one knee and puts a hand on her shoulder. He pushes in a small surge of his chakra to break the genjutsu. With this exertion comes another crippling wave of exhaustion. Naruto realizes that he really needs to stop using his chakra altogether. Snapping back to reality, Tenten looks up at him with sunken eyes. She apologizes with a dead tone. Naruto dismisses it, claiming all responsibility for being an idiot. She shakes her head some more, says no one last time, and then falls face first into the mud. If he saw Zabuza, he wonders what she could have experienced, and she doesn't have a monster inside her. Awkwardly, Naruto lifts both girls onto his back. Exhausted, sleep-deprived, chakra run out, injured, and poisoned, Naruto walks further into the woods with both girls on his back. Well, this was one heck of a ride. I wanted to give this one a lot of room to breathe because it was extremely important for our titular character. Theirs is also the first known team to collect all the required scrolls. Speaking of which, just how exactly do these Hell Scrolls work, right? It will all be answered in time, worry not. And until then, the sky's the limit!